to my YouTube channel, #MovieBae. I am MovieBae, and in this video, I'm going to be recapping and reviewing episode, I think, 8 of P-Valley, entitled Jackson. But before I get into it though, be sure y'all drop down and hit the subscribe button to stay tuned for more reviews over movies and television shows. I review P-Valley, Ivy, College Hill Celebrity Edition, All the Queen's Men, Baddies on Zeus, and I'm going to be dropping my Nope review very soon. So if you are interested, please be sure you hit that subscribe button and thumbs up, especially if you are new. Alright, so this episode was kind of broken down to 3 major storylines, so let's go ahead and talk about Keyshawn. Keyshawn and Derek are at the store. You know, he doesn't have his mask on. But she does. But y'all know from previous episodes, Keyshawn don't be wearing a mask either. But she's wearing a mask to cover all the black eyes and bruises and busted lips that she has, right? So she sees Haley in the drugstore or in the store. And she tells Derek that, hey, I need to step away to go get some makeup, you know, for my black eye and shit. So he lets her go or whatever, right? He lets her go. Yeah, okay. So she goes to the makeup aisle and she sees Haley. And basically, Haley's just like, yeah, I see you haven't used that gun that I gave you just yet or whatever. And Haley just kind of implies, like, whenever you need to, I'm here. Like, reach out to me or whatever. So later on that night, Haley comes over to Keyshawn's house. And Derek opens the door like, do I know you? And, not Mercedes, Jesus Lord. Mississippi comes out and she says, oh, hey, Derek, that's Haley. We used to work together or whatever. And Haley's like, yeah, I brought something over for the baby. So then, and only then, does he let her in the house. I'm honestly surprised Derek didn't look in the bag, grab the bag, and look in it and to Inspector Gadget, frisk her at the door, you know, because he just so damn prison warden-y, you know. I'm surprised he let her have company. So Haley goes to the back with Keyshawn. She grabs Regal the baby, and she was like, Regal, I want to tell you a story. And y'all know Keyshawn only can be taught through fairy tales, evidently. So basically, Haley tells her a story about herself. How, you know, she was lost, and this guy basically found her. Lost is like, you know, quote unquote, lost, and this guy found her. She have a baby, da-da-da-da. She thinks everything is good until it's not. And she basically emphasizes how she waited so long to leave this abusive relationship that her tears drowned her baby. I'm thinking that the tears are metaphorically the hurricane, because like if I would have left sooner, it wouldn't have been a hurricane, my baby would have died, you know, that's what I'm thinking. But just like Keyshawn, at first my head was tilted like, bitch, what the fuck is you talking about? So Keyshawn is like, bitch, what the fuck is you talking about? So Haley basically lets Keyshawn know. She gives her burner phone. She says, look me up. Whenever you are ready to learn how to swim, I got you. So y'all know I don't like Haley. Y'all know I don't. But this episode, Haley has some redeeming qualities. Obviously because her and Keyshawn can relate on this matter or whatever. So speaking of Haley, let's go ahead and talk about Uncle Cliff and Haley's conversation. Well, the episode actually starts off with Ernestine singing in the Pank before it was the Pank. And we go through different decades of basically history. So we get clips of baby Cliff at like the age of like 3, 4. And I just thought it was funny because his mama called him Uncle Cliff. I'm like, damn, is his first name Uncle, last name Cliff? Like, we knew who this person was supposed to be. Y'all didn't have to name the baby Uncle Cliff. Like, come on, bro. She could have just said Clifford and it all would have made sense. Anyhow. So like I said, we basically are seeing the different decades of the Pank. And Grandmother, while she's singing, everything comes distorted. And she sees her deceased daughter, who is Cliff's mom. And her daughter is telling her to come on home or whatever. So then that's when we get present day. Cliff is basically telling Haley that she bought more than the club. She's actually bought like a piece of history, his family history. And Haley is just saying like, yo, like the casino's going to happen either way. Me buying it is just basically prolonging the agony of it all. Haley mentions how she understands history and how much the club means to Cliff. However, she wants to make sure that Cliff gets what his family is owed versus them, meaning the white folks, just taking the club from them. She's like, we can at least get something out of it for you and for me. Because Haley wants to kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know the word I'm looking for, but basically do right by her daughter, because, you know, she lost her daughter trying to escape with the money, and she wants to make it worth it, you know, wants to make losing her daughter worth it by being a millionaire and shit. And Uncle Cliff is just basically saying, baby girl, your daughter is deceased and she's not coming back. No matter how much money you have, you know, whatever you think is going to make it worth it or worthwhile or make you feel better, your daughter is not coming back or whatever. And they leave off on that. Now, to be honest with the Pank, I was opposed to selling it. But when it comes down to it, if things do get real politicky and real, you know how white folks do, I would rather leave the situation with more than market value. You know what I'm saying? So Haley has a point and I see Cliff's point. But when they were talking and Haley said that Promised Land offered $5 million, Uncle Cliff was like, and you didn't take the money? So it leaves room to think that Uncle Cliff might consider selling the Pank for the right amount of money. So we go ahead and go back to Cliff's house, and where Little Murder is basically there taking care of Ernestine. And I just want to give claps to Little Murder, because we love a responsible man. Like, we love a responsible man. I mean, he's taking care of Mama Ernestine. He's cooking for her, checking her blood pressure, but just, you know, making sure that she's good or whatever. Afterwards, Murder gets a phone call from Wody and notifications about his collab with Tina Snow. And he really not paying attention to none of that, but Wody calls and mentions how he wants to get back on tour. And they do briefly mention how nobody has come to basically claim Big T's body. So Murder was like, HVH is going to send him off like a king or whatever. So later on in the day, Murder goes into Cliff's room and he notices all of Cliff's fashions, okay? And he sees, basically that whole scene is about how Uncle Cliff has been able to be himself and to be accepted as much as he could be accepted, accept herself for being, y'all know what I'm saying. Uncle Cliff has been able to be accepted as much as they are able to be accepted for being themselves. And Murder, on the other hand, is not allowed to be accepted by the world because he is masked, he's trade, and that's not how they see, especially black men. So you kind of see like the different dynamic. Obviously, all of Murder's relationships have been low key because he dates trades, other masculine men or masculine presenting men, and Uncle Cliff is the polar opposite. Cliff is like, well, ain't no undercover, ain't no hiding with me. Like, I'm all out there, flamboyant as fuck. Okay. So after they have their conversation, they hear some bumps and some doors opening, and they run downstairs, and Mama Ernestine has left the house. So she goes down to the river, and she's trying to get in the river, and she's calling out to go home with her daughter, who is deceased. So after that scene, they realize that, you know, she's not looking too good. It's finally time to call the ambulance. So they call the ambulance and they take Mama Ernestine away. And this part really, really made me sad. She was like, I don't want to die alone. And if y'all remember, I'm sure y'all do, back when Rona was at its peak, all the hospitals were full. There was no visitation at all. And I remember because my mom kept honing in on it. She was like, y'all better be out there. Y'all better be careful, because if you catch it, I can't come see you and you're going to be all by yourself and stuff like that. So when Mama Ernestine said that, you know, she didn't want to die alone, that really just like, that shit made me sad. So after she's taken away, Cliff is in the shower having a moment, because y'all know it's time to have a moment. And when Cliff comes out of the shower, she sees Little Murder dancing, stripping the Cisco or whatever. And it was like a cute, lighthearted moment to break up all the tragedy and all the heaviness that's been happening in this episode between these two characters. They basically embrace and they have sex. Now, with this sex scene, one, I don't know who, I think Uncle Cliff reached for a condom. And Murda told Cliff, don't use it. I want to feel you inside me. I was like, first off, you want to feel him inside you? I was like, I thought she was now you a bottom? Okay. All right. Things are changing. But I was really more surprised by, excuse me, are we going to turn down safe sex? I was just thinking, like, I don't want another tragic storyline, all because we're having like this intimate, vulnerable night together. I was like, bro, please just put it on. Please put it on. Oh God. I don't know. My mind just kind of went to the worst. But they didn't put it on and they were intimate, you know. The next morning, Murda asked Cliff why Cliff let him in that night. And Cliff was just basically like, you needed me and I needed you. So Murda tries to talk about the situation with Teak, and then Cliff was like, you know what? Only talk about it when you're ready. Like, you don't have to talk about it now. You only talk about it when you're ready. So let's go ahead and get into the other non-safe sex storyline of this episode. Mercedes and Tarika. So y'all know Tarika came over to Sadie's house late at night and told her that she was pregnant. So Tarika has been staying with Mercedes for the past 3 days. Sadie's had called Shell to let her know that Tarika is still going to be staying with her. And matter of fact, she's going to stay with her for a while until Shell gets her life together, quote unquote. So Mercedes hangs up and then goes and asks Tarika, like, yo, so what you want to do about this baby? And Tarika is deflecting. She's talking about how she wants to paint her room and things like that. And then Mercedes like, girl, what are we going to do about this baby? And Tarika's like, well, I don't know, but I do know that basically she wants some ice cream. So they decide to go get some ice cream. Now, the next scene, all we hear is certified freak, 7 days a week, wet ass pussy, make that put out game week. I was like, jamming. I'm not going to cap. And then the camera cut to Tarika singing it. My face got so straight. I was like, oh no, she need to hush her mouth. I was like, y'all had to see me. Like, I was so crunk. And then I saw Tarika singing it. I said, oh, hell no. She needs to be quiet. And Mercedes said the same thing. She turned that radio off so fast. She was like, don't you think you need to not be singing that? Because didn't this wop, wop, wop get you in the situation that you in right now? So, basically, that leads to a whole talk about how Tarika's like, well, you never gave me the sex talk. All you told me was to keep my legs closed, that nappy-headed niggas that only want one thing. And when she said that, I was like, well, damn, that was my sex talk. That is legit the same sex talk I got when I was a kid. My dad told me, dudes only want one thing, so don't give it to him. That was my sex talk. And then later, I think when I got in high school, my sex talk was, if you can't say penis and vagina without laughing, you're not mature enough to have sex. Literally, of the sex talk that I got. So I was like, well, what's the problem with that? Then I was thinking, sex talk should include more details. Like, that literally was the basics. Like, dudes only want one thing, so don't give it to them. That is the basics. But what happens when you do give it to them? You know what I'm saying? And that's when the details start to lack. So that's when you need to know about not only abstinence, safe sex, your options, what comes from not having safe sex, what comes from having safe sex. Like, all those details definitely should be talked about with kids. And so I understood both sides. Obviously, I understood Mercedes and I understood Tarika when she was basically saying that wasn't enough information. So after they had that conversation, they passed the ice cream place. And Tarika's like, where are we going? And Sadie tells her, like, we're going to Jackson, to the clinic, for a consultation. Tarika starts feeling sick immediately. They pull the car over and they kind of have like a talk about how, you know, giving birth is life and death for us, meaning black women, for, you know, a multitude of reasons. How, man, healthcare and black women and doctors and black women, how they think we have a high pain tolerance and just all types of ignorant white people shit. So, especially though, you know, not just for black women, but for women in general. And then on top of that, she's 14. Like, your body isn't even really fully developed to have a safe pregnancy. So they have that conversation, and Tarika goes off to this, well, my sister-in-law, baby cousin Tracy told me that having an abortion could give you cancer. And that goes into, once again, when you don't have that talk with your children, they get their information from everybody, Uncle Tom and Harry, you know what I'm saying? So communication is important. So they're basically both pressing each other for a solution about what to do with this baby, but neither of them knows. But they are going to go to the clinic to have a consultation. And I believe that that is wise, because they don't even know how many months she is. Like, they don't know. They don't know anything. So we need to see if your pelvic is good. Like, we need to know. We can't just pretend like this shit is not happening, because it's happening. So they stop at the diner to use the restroom, and that is when we get a flashback of Mercedes and Patrice. So Mercedes and Patrice, they're having dinner, lunch, whatever the hell, and the bill comes, and Patrice says that she's short. So she looks back at this guy who's been looking at Mercedes the whole time, and Patrice wants Mercedes to work her magic. I'm thinking she's prostituting her daughter out, because we all know Patrice was bullshit back in the day, especially. So Mercedes is like, you know what? I'm good on that. I got it this time. So when she pulls out her wallet, Patrice sees that baby Mercedes, has a condom and a wallet full of money. So she gets mad. She's like, what is this? And who you get this from? And Tarika's like, I got it from Cortez. He takes care of me. He loves me. And Patrice is like, oh, so I guess you taking care of him too. And she just started beating Mercedes in the goddamn diner. She's like, Cortez loves me and he takes care of me. And you could tell that just drove Patrice crazy, because she was jealous that Mercedes, her daughter, is in a quote-unquote relationship, be it disgusting as fuck, but she's in a relationship with a man who is tricking out on her, she's in a relationship, giving her money to take care of herself. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, Patrice, the dude she messing with, she don't even have enough money to pay the bill. You know what I'm saying? So Patrice was jealous. So then we get a flash back to the present day. We're in the car, and Tarika is texting Kalan, whatever the hell his name is, her baby daddy. And this part was funny to me, I'm not gonna lie. So she was like, oh, he knows about the baby, but he wants me to keep the baby. He's an artist. I said, oh, so he broke. I'm sorry. As an artist, bitch, we broke. So she talks about how Kalan wants her to keep the baby and how he'll take care of them, and just telling Sadie's all this bullshit. Sadie's is like, he's 14. How's he going to take you? Both of y'all are 14. How you going to take care of you? Oh, he's going to get a part-time job. A part-time job? Do you know how expensive having a baby is? You can't even take care of yourself, but you want to take care of a baby? Like, some real shit is coming out. Like, Sadie's is telling no lies. And she also goes into telling Tarika how your daddy told me that same shit until the baby came, until you came. And Tarika basically says to her mom, she was like, you just mad because the dudes that want you are the dudes that dance for you, and somebody actually loves me and wants to take care of me. So Tarika calls her mom jealous. And that ties into the flashback that we just had with Mercedes and her mom about being jealous that somebody wants to take care of her, somebody quote unquote loves her. So she slaps Tarika. I thought she punched her. I still think she punched her, but you know, whatever. So she slaps Tarika. And Tarika's like, when I have a baby, I'm never going to put my hands on her. Here go Mercedes. I said the same damn thing. Bro, deja vu. We just seeing how history repeats itself, huh? Just seeing how history repeats itself. So they finally get to Planned Parenthood, and we see the Planned Parenthood protesters as they usually do. Now, I've never seen the Planned Parenthood packed out this much, but when I tell you it's packed out, it's packed out, okay? We have white people in the Planned Parenthood protesting. It's usually white people, by the way. I'm not even gonna lie. Saying pro-life and anti-abortion and Black Lives Matter. First off, now we in the South with the white folks talking about Black Lives Matter. Oh, so now Black Lives Matter, huh? Oh, okay. They push through the crowd or whatever, and then Mercedes looks back at the pro-lifers and she sees her mom, Mama Patrice. Because we know that Mama Patrice made Mercedes have Tarika. So her mom was a pro-lifer. So Mercedes goes into the doctor. This part is funny as fuck, and I know y'all noticed it. The doctor is doing a sonogram, and she says, you're 14 weeks and 14 weeks and 4 days, or some shit like that. We see the sonogram of this full-grown, full-ass, developed-ass baby. You could tell, you like, what the fuck? That baby got fingernails, a heartbeat, a brain. That baby is fully developed right now on that sonogram, and that is just not accurate. But the important part is T is right on the cusp where she needs to decide. You have to wait 24 hours anyway. I thought it was 48 hours to have an abortion because they want you to go through counseling and weigh your options before you go through the process. But she's so far along that you got to wait the state mandated 24 hours, and then we need to make a decision or it's going to be too late. To the hotel, or they check into a hotel for the night because they're in Jackson, an hour and a half away, and they go to the pool. So they see this mom and all her badass kids running around acting a fool, and Mercedes is like, look into that crystal ball, that's gonna be your future right there. And Tarika is talking like she wants to keep the baby. So Sadie's asked Tarika, like, well, what are your future goals? Like, what are your dreams? You don't want to go to school, you don't want to travel. And you know, having a baby doesn't stop your dreams. I have a cousin who she got pregnant her senior year in high school, still graduated high school, still went to college. That bitch got her master's, okay? She's and working on her doctorate. She's further along in life than I am with 3 fucking children. I'm just saying, having a baby does not stop your dreams, but it definitely makes it more challenging, and it's going to postpone it. You know? So Mercedes is just like, you know, putting that thought into Tarika's head. And she's like, well, Tarika, don't even think about your boyfriend. Don't think about me. Don't think about Shell. What do you want to do? How do you want your life and your future to pan out? And I thought that was a good conversation. I thought that was a good question. Great question. So later that night in the hotel, Sadie is back on her Mama Patrice shit. And she's pressing Tarika like, well, what are you going to do about this baby? What are you going to do about this baby? And basically, T talks about what Mercedes missed out on. Like, yeah, you say that your mom wouldn't let you keep me, and well, made you have me but wouldn't let you keep me. Cortez wouldn't let you see me. But what about all the visits that you were allowed to come to? What about my 7th birthday party? What about now? So T presses Mercedes about, what is stopping you, sis? And Tarika has some good points, because y'all, we all know that Mercedes has been, I don't want to say bullshitting, but I feel like she's kind of like self-loathing. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that, versus actually trying. You know? That's what I feel like. So Tarika gets upset, goes into the bathroom, locks herself in, and Mercedes looks into the mirror, and once again she sees that she's acting like Patrice. So she goes to the bathroom door, she apologizes to Tarika, and she mentions how her herself did consider an abortion, but, you know, Mama Patrice made me have you. And that's okay, because sometimes God uses the devil to give you a blessing. So Sadie just wants Tarika to have choices in life. She tells her, I just want you to have choices. I want you to make your own decisions. So Sadie wants, when Tarika comes out of the bathroom, Mercedes mentions how she wants to make up for lost time with Tarika. I personally think this is a strategy. I feel like Mercedes is like, let's talk about all the shit I did miss out on. What color do you want to paint your room? And shit like that. Things that Tarika has always wanted from Mercedes. I think this is a strategy to get her to abort the baby. So the next day, Mercedes gives Tarika the keys to drive. Because remember, at first, Tarika wanted to drive in the first place. So now Mercedes is giving Tarika the opportunity to drive. And this is the type of shit that Tarika missed out on with her mom, so she's excited. More strategy, in my opinion. So Mercedes is like, you know what? Well, Tarika's like, well, where are we going? And Mercedes is like, it's up to you. If you want to go home, we can go home. If you want to go to Jackson, we can go to Jackson. I support you either way. So Tarika gets in the car, and it's time for the exit. You keep straight, you go to Chuckalisa. You turn right, you go to Jackson. And Mercedes looks out the window, and Tarika turns right to go to Jackson. And Mercedes just had the biggest smile on her face. I was like, I know that bitch happy. So that concludes the recap for this episode. Be sure y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay tuned for the rest of the season. Like this video if you enjoyed my commentary, and leave a comment down in the section below. Is there anything I missed out on or anything that y'all just want to comment on? Let's have a conversation in the comment section. Like I said, subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see y'all next time. It's a date.